Hey guys, I'm Combat Craig. Welcome back to another video. And today's topic is poking the bear. This is an analogy that's used in the veterans community, and it's basically in reference, or how I'm going to talk about it, is if you have a current VA disability rating, should you go after more? So first and foremost, and I learned this in the military, you learn who your adversary is, have some idea of what they're capable of, and have some answer for how you're going to fight back if you poke something and you didn't know what it was or you didn't know what it was going to do. So by nature, I'm not a bear hunter. And I'm not, I've experienced some bears out here, and not in Idaho, but in Montana. Not that close, but I'm not a bear hunter, so I'm not prepared to go poke a bear and then see what happens, because bears are unpredictable. And, are we talking black bears, grizzly bears? They get big and gnarlier, but just the most docile bear isn't something I want to be messing around with. So if I'm going to poke something, and have a plan, it's probably going to be an inanimate object like a marshmallow. I'd feel comfortable just randomly not knowing what's going to happen. I'm going to go poke that marshmallow and see what happens. So that's how I'm going to frame this thing up. So poking the bear, that concept or that phrase means messing with something that's very powerful and is probably best left alone, right? That's the poking the bear piece of this. Don't poke the bear means don't mess with something that is likely going to hurt you. Now we're talking about a VA disability rating, maybe some VA back pay. You're thinking, all right, they're the bear. To get them to move, I need to poke them. That's a lot of this, what we're talking about. They're big and slow. The problem with that whole, concept is, once you get the bear to move, what's he going to do? We have absolutely no control over what this thing we shouldn't be messing with, what they're going to do. So when we're poking the VA, we don't know what they're going to do. We know when we're going to go after more money, more benefits, challenge a decision or something like that. We know what we want to happen, but it's the unknown. But we do know a lot about the unknown, because they do the opposite of that. Every time you file a claim to initiate a claims action against the VA, you could get a reduction just as easily as you can get a increase. Look at the comments below in this video, and you'll see plenty of examples of that. This happens every single day. Most veterans don't know that there's two sides to this coin. And it's like, whatever, I think I should get paid more for allergic rhinitis, or I don't understand effective dates. So since I think they should go back to 1991, I'm going to go poke the bear because I want my money from these guys. If this is something that they just don't do, then you're poking the bear, putting yourself in harm's way for absolutely no reason. So before you go poking the bear, understand, what's risk versus reward. Are you even going to get anything out of this? Rating reductions happen. Are your current ratings dialed in? Are they protected at all? I talk about the 20-year rule. I've made plenty of videos about this. That when I go poke the bear, I'm going to be protected everything. 100% P&T, all that makeup, I'm going to be protected, so they can't just come in and reduce me. So are you going to the doctor? Have you sought medical treatment? Do you have some of these low-level protections that aren't really protections? 55-year rule, 5-year rule, 10-year rule, P&T status. Do you at least have that before you go poking the bear? So, this is up to you to decide, how much you want to risk your rating. For me, I don't want to risk it at all. I can't afford to live without it. So I have other things that I want to file, other effective dates to challenge. And I think that I see a path currently, as I sit here 5 years into this thing, that I have a path to win some of these. But that urge isn't so strong that I'm going to do it now and have them open up my 100% permanent total rating. If you're interested in learning more about the VA claims process, check out my bootcamp. There's a link in the description. And all this stuff comes down to medical evidence. If you don't have it and you need it, contact my med team. There's an email address in the description below. Let's go back to the bear. You want it to move, so you want to give it a poke. It might move the way you want it to. It might not, right? It might move away from you. It might attack you. Bears are unpredictable, just like the VA. What we can't control is how the bear/VA is going to move. We have absolutely no control over that. This is why this don't poke the bear analogy works well, because even if this is something you're dead set on and you want to poke them, you have absolutely no idea what the bear is going to do, how they're going to respond, what they're going to do to your rating. There's so many unknowns. So really, at the end of the day, you could ask this question and you'll read a lot about poking the bear, but it's really up to you and how much risk you're comfortable with. Again, for me, I'm not comfortable with poking bears at all. It's not even on my risk factor. I have 0% tolerance when it comes to poking bears. I'm just not going to do it. Now, in real life, leaving my analogy here, if I encounter a bear, I'll do what I have to do, but I have bear bells on. I go with my dog. When I'm out in bear country, and it does happen, I'm making a lot of noise, and I know how bears are out in the wild. They usually don't want to mess with people, but I'm definitely not going to set myself up to walk on top of a sleeping bear. I'm going to be making so much noise, and I'm going to have my dog with me. The bear's going to wake up before I get there. So that's just me. For you, you may feel comfortable being sneaky in the forest. You have military training. You know how to get around quietly. You may be comfortable, sneaking up and stepping onto and over a bear because you're stealthy. That's just not me. Let me throw an example on the screen here and, give you my thoughts on, is this poking the bear? VA found no service connection for a condition that I claimed long ago. We're all in that boat, right? PACT Act made the condition presumptive, so I filed a supplemental claim. Exactly the way you're supposed to do it. VA approved it and calculated back pay based on my intent to file date, right? So this claim was one of the PACT Act presumptives. Let's just call it allergic rhinitis for simplification purposes. Filed this thing in 2010 and got denied. And then the PACT Act's been around for a little under a year now. I think it was August of 2022. Filed a PACT Act claim for allergic rhinitis and won that and got a little bit of back pay. And the intent to file date was recently, right? It was sometime after the PACT Act became law. So somewhere between August 2022 and now, put in an intent to filed the claim, and he won it. I don't know what he got out of it, but let's say it's 10%, so it's an extra $600. So he's like, that's cool, I finally won it, but I want this to go back to 1991. So in this particular situation, there is no back pay. It will not go back to 1991. There's only one set of circumstances where you will get back pay back to an earlier effective date. If you're interested in learning more about the VA claims process, check out my boot camp. There's a link in the description. And all this stuff comes down to medical evidence. If you don't have it and you need it, contact my med team. There's an email address in the description below. Due to the nature of a presumptive condition, and this is only for Vietnam veterans, and these are NEMR claims. That's the only circumstance I'm aware of where there's even back pay available for you to get if you win it. In this situation with the PACT Act, allergic rhinitis, there is no back pay. So moving on here, I need to file a higher level review to get VA to correct the date for back pay, but sure don't want to poke the bear. Don't do it. Don't file a higher level review for back pay you're never going to get. You're literally poking the bear for fun here. I know you don't think it's for fun, but it's a futile effort here. There is no back pay. So you're just poking the bear for absolutely no reason. Will filing a higher level review allow VA to reopen the entire supplemental claim, review the C&P exam report, other medical evidence, etc., and reduce your combined rating? Or will VA's action on the higher level review be limited to the admin question of how back pay should be calculated? So this is the big question. And again, we're talking about poking the bear. Bears are unpredictable. Should the VA go in and reevaluate your entire claim? No. Should they just go look at the higher level review and say, oh, there's a problem with the back pay, or, you think there's a problem with the back pay? What they should do is say, yeah, there's no back pay. That's what they should do. What they do more often than not is go in and reevaluate everything because you just invited them into your claim to roam around. Okay, well, you're focused on this back pay here, but we see this PTSD rating that's not protected for 20 years, and we see that you haven't been going to the doctor for it in the last 6 years. So you must not have PTSD anymore, so we're just going to remove that rating altogether. If you have a 70% rating for PTSD and they knock it to 0, that's going to sting. So what should happen, what does happen, and I'm not saying this happens all the time, I'm just saying the VA is unpredictable, just like bears are, because we have no idea what they're going to do. If there's no back pay, and you're going to challenge an effective date for back pay that doesn't exist, I would say that's a perfect example of poking the bear for absolutely no reason. Risk versus reward, right? 100% risk, 0 reward. It's silly to do something like that. So this is my 2 cents on poking the bear. It's up to you. It's up to all of us to figure out how much we want to risk, what is the risk versus reward ratio, and what we want to do. I told you where I sit on the whole thing with risk versus reward and laying my 100% permanent total rating on the line. That's where I sit, because I see a lot more than probably you guys see. I have the YouTube channel and I get a lot of comments, a lot of contacts. People in my boot camp tell me that they're getting reduced. 85-year-old veterans getting reduced out of 100% permanent total ratings that they've had for 15 years. Reduced. It happens. I see it so much that I'm just not going to make it easy for them. But this is up to you. It's your world, squirrel. If you want to go get that nut, go get that nut. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. If you're interested in learning more about the VA claims process, check out my boot camp. There's a link in the description. And all this stuff comes down to medical evidence. If you don't have it and you need it, contact my med team. There's an email address in the description below.